10 in a draft, and we kind of picked these with a weird order, so we'll see. It's about in the range of what we think players will be available in the mock draft. So why don't you make the number 1 overall pick, Mark?
Well, for me, I think we got to go with a wide receiver at number 1. It's going to be Jamar Chase, who has been fantastic, not just this year, but really throughout his entire career. You look at what he's done every year in the NFL, over 125 targets. He's led the Bengals in targets each of his 4 seasons, at least a 22% target share in each season, 7 or more touchdowns every single year. And we're also sort of sitting and waiting to see what happens with T. Higgins. Does he come back to Cincinnati? Does he move on? We know Jamar Chase is going to get a ton of opportunity, but maybe without his running mate there, does he somehow, I don't even know if it's possible for him to get more targets, but maybe it happens if T. Higgins isn't there. But either way, it feels like a lock at the top spot.
Yeah, I love Jamar Chase. Would take him at the 1.01 as well. But if I have the second pick, I'm going with Jamar Chase's old college teammate in Justin Jefferson. I made the mistake of doubting him, thinking the quarterback play might hurt him a little bit this year. Wrong. He's been top 3 in total points in each of the last 3 full seasons. Top 5 in fantasy points per game in 4 straight. He has 1,000 yards every single season he has played, and he has been productive now with Kirk Cousins, Sam Darnold, Nick Mullins, the Pastronaut. I don't care who is throwing him the ball. He is the definition of quarterback proof. So yeah, I'll take the uber safe Justin Jefferson second overall.
Yeah, those are 2 solid picks, and I think, and again, we're talking about ranges here. You could have a choice of 2 very good running backs, but I think it's Bijan Robinson going into that season in his career. He's got the 4th most yards per game this season. From scrimmage. He's vital in the pass game and run game. He can break it at any moment. And he had the team on his back when they had nothing in the passing game. I'm looking forward to a full season of Michael Penix Jr. for the Atlanta Falcons. And yeah, you can get the guy who ran for 2,000 yards in this spot too. But I like Bijan in 2025.
So at number 4 for me, I want to go with C.D. Lamb, who was, I think, like the number 3 pick in most drafts last year, obviously ending the year on the sideline because of that shoulder injury. The good news is it won't need surgery, so he should be ready to go in plenty of time for training camp, but really continues to be the focal point of the Cowboys offense as they continue to look for a consistent number 2 option. Dak Prescott should be back and healthy next year. Those 2 are pretty deadly together, so I still think you're going to get plenty of opportunity from CeeDee Lamb, plenty of production from one of the elite wide receivers in the league.
Yeah, I love that. I had him as the 1.01 this year, personally, but I love taking wide receivers early on, but if Saquon Barkley's sitting here at 5, I will happily take him because 2,000 yards, do I need to say anything more than that? He had nearly 40 more fantasy points than the next closest running back, and we saw him be highly productive for years on bad offenses. In his first year with a good offense and a good O-line, he had a chance to set the rushing record heading into Week 18. We know he's not going to play, but I agree with Patrick. Like, you don't want to chase the best player from last year, which is why I also would take Bijan ahead of Saquon. But if you're going to give me Saquon in the middle of the first round, I'm not going to say no.
That's with his quarterback scoring 14 rushing touchdowns as well. Saquon definitely a great option in the top 10. And when we get to this middle part of the top 10 at number 6, I have complete confidence in Puka Nacua. 18.8 points a game, which feels like a very, very safe floor because he can also, like Jamar Chase, go nuclear in plenty of spots. 39% target share since Week 10. That's the highest in the NFL. And coming into a healthy 2025, why not 40? Why not 44? Take us to like 2023 Tyreek Hill type numbers for Puka Nacua. I think that's within the realm of possibility.
So one maybe a little bit spicy here at the 7th spot, but I'm going to go with Brian Thomas Jr., our first 2024 rookie off the board, because this was a guy that when we talked about the top rookie wide receivers of the year, we were looking at Marvin Harrison Jr. and Malik Neighbors. And look, not that we were down on Brian Thomas, but we didn't talk about him in the same breath as those other 2. But instead, currently leads all rookie wide receivers in receiving yards, receiving touchdowns, 122 targets. And he's had similar production, whether it's been Trevor Lawrence or Mac Jones at quarterback, an alpha target in an offense that doesn't really have a consistent second option. So I think you're going to see, maybe not quite this high, but you're going to see a lot of Brian Thomas in the first round of drafts next year.
Yeah, it was funny when people faded him because Gabe Davis was there. At 8th overall, I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I won't lie, I strongly consider Nico Collins here. But The consistent production is too hard to pass up with the Sun God. He has been top 3 in total points 2 years in a row, top 10 in fantasy points per game in 3 straight years. He sees elite volume. He is tied to an elite offense with a quarterback that is not going anywhere. And the Lions, the best part about them is they never take their foot off the gas. Even in a meaningless game on Monday night, they were like, we're going to go out and we're going to drop a whole ton of points on you. So weekly floor, high ceiling, all of that, an excellent pick in the first round.
A great pick in the first round. And in my leagues where I was good this season, I relied on a lot of running back production, especially in the flex spot. And yes, I believe it's a projection. But how much of a projection is it for James Cook when he had the most scrimmage touchdowns this season in the entire NFL, including one where he lost a couple of pieces of his very own hair? But it took a very long time for him to grow 257.9 fantasy points. At some point, the goal line work drops for Josh Allen. I know we've been saying that for years for Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts, but at some point it does, and I think it's fine to project James Cook right around this 9 to 12 range in the 2025 draft.
So I'm going to round out our top 10 picks here with Breece Hall. And he was one that, last year we talked about him. Look, we had CMC as the #1 running back, #1 player off the board. But then it became a debate between, do you want Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall? Obviously, statistically, the numbers pointed toward Robinson. But this is just kind of a reminder of who Breece Hall can be. His usage at points this season was sort of indecipherable. You can expect there's probably going to be a lot of changes coming with the coaching staff, with the New York Jets, perhaps with the personnel as well. But still, you have a guy that has a 3-down skill set, doesn't have a lot of challengers for opportunities behind him. So I still think Breece Hall is going to be a guy worthy of a late first-round pick next year.
So that is our top 10. And again, change our order around. You could have a lot of different names in here in this first round. Starting with Jamar Chase, wrapping it up with Breece Hall. That is the 2025 Top 10 Fantasy Live mock draft. When we return, a bit of a farewell to a season of start and sit 'em with the quarterback position. First, we got a game out who's actually going to play. Mike's done the work for you. Starts and sits coming up next on Fantasy Live.